And great. So you don't mind if I record, right?
Sure.
Okay. My name's Jeff.
Nice to meet you, Jeff. I'm Mark.
Mark, nice to meet you, Mark. So, like I said, what I do is I come out and I try to talk to people about a belief they may have, and preferably it's something that they act on in the real world.
Yeah.
I've had great conversations with someone who burns sage in their house because they think it wards off evil spirits.
Oh, okay.
I had a... Wait for that right there. So my audio...
Hold for motorcycle. Hold for motorcycle.
Yeah. If you're a filmmaker, you know all about it, right?
Yeah.
So I've had... So like I said, I had a great conversation with someone to burn sage. I've had a conversation with a gentleman who thought the Book of Mormon was true.
Okay.
And I've had a conversation with a gentleman who said that caffeine should be regulated like nicotine. I've had a conversation with a person who said that the coronavirus is fabricated.
Okay.
And not a real thing and not a danger. And I've had conversations about the vaccine, so it's kind of open, political. People, I've had God belief discussions with people, a higher power or a particular God belief, and so do you have a claim that you hold, that you act on, that you know?
I do. I'm a believer. I believe in God, and Christ is my Lord and Savior.
Okay.
But that's, I'm pretty open in the sense that, I'm not really denominational.
Right.
So I really just kind of stick to Jesus, and I'm not really preachy about it, but my filmmaking is very spiritual.
Okay.
Something that came to mind is I do think that cannabis is medicine, and it should be legal completely. Okay. And absolutely.
Would you like to explore your God belief with me, or would you like to explore the cannabis
I kind of put them together a little bit.
Yeah?
From my research, I found that cannabis is actually in the Bible.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, if we can narrow it down,
sure.
Let me ask you this. Does one hinge on the other? If you found yourself not believing one, would the other one fall to the wayside? Is there one that's dependent on the other?
No, I feel that God created cannabis, but I also feel like, God created all the herbs on the planet for our benefit and for medicine.
Okay. So maybe we could start with the God belief and go from there.
Sure.
Since that kind of seems to be a starting point, perhaps, for you anyway,
sure.
Mark. So let me ask you this. On a scale of 0 to 100, if 0 being I have all doubt and no certainty that the God I believe in exists, and 100 being I have 0 doubt and all certainty that the God I believe in exists, where would you put yourself on that 0 to 100 scale?
Well, yeah, it's hard to say 100 just because, I have faith, not necessarily knowledge. I can't prove it. But I would say 99.9.
Okay, so you're 99.9%. That's really high. I mean, that's like you're really confident. I admire your willingness to be that confident in your belief. I really do. But if you had to think about it and narrow it down, what would you say would be the main thing, the main reason that you have that 99.9% confidence? What's the one thing that makes you most confident that your God belief is true?
I've had personal revelation.
Personal revelation.
My body, mind, and spirit have transformed. I've had bodily, energetic experiences that have informed me of a deeper level to reality.
Bodily, energetic experiences.
And after which is when I really kind of came to Jesus more specifically, but that I've had personal revelation, like I said, where I felt God come into me and out of me and through me.
Okay.
And I'm sure, maybe in other cultures they would define it other things. I know in the Hindu culture, they talk about Kundalini and things like that. But I've had those types of experiences, but from a Western perspective. But it's all led me back to Christ. So it is something where I've had the experiences of feeling and knowing that there is more to reality than what we see, feel, touch, hear, taste.
Feeling and knowing. Okay.
But I've had experiences that very few people from my research have had.
Okay.
And so those experiences have informed me and informed my beliefs.
So I think what I hear you saying, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't want to put words in your mouth, that your personal experiences were the start of your belief in let's just say a higher power, and your continued journey led you down the path to conclude that Jesus and Christ is the one true God. Is that fair?
Like Michael Jordan is the greatest basketball player ever, I believe Jesus to be the greatest man, woman, or child sent by God.
Okay.
And him incarnate.
You mentioned a Hindu a minute ago,
yeah.
And that was interesting to me. If you've been born in India,
yeah,
and you went on this same journey of personal experiences,
yeah,
do you think those personal experiences would have led you to look at the Bhagavad Gita? Dump truck. Do you think those personal experiences
Sure.
would have led you to look at the Bhagavad Gita and conclude that Vishnu was the true God?
I think at first maybe. I mean, when I first had these kinds of experiences, I just knew that God existed, but I didn't know, I wasn't on 99.9% sure that it was Christ who was the Messiah. But, so I think, yeah, it probably would have taken me longer. But again, for me, it's that I've come to, after my personal revelations, I've come to an understanding that, I said that metaphor because it is, I think, a very good metaphor. When you actually, if you really look at all the greats who have been sent by, if there is a God, all the greats who have helped us, whether it's Buddha, whether it's Vishnu, and great sages, and I do feel like the human being who has changed the world the most, and if you really just look at it statistically and how our lives have transformed because of one person's existence, right. It's hard for me to, at this point, Michael Jordan's the greatest basketball player ever, because if you really look at the stats and you really right. look at his accomplishments, it's very difficult to make an argument that he's not. And in my opinion, it's very difficult to make the argument that Christ is not the greatest, person sent by, if there is a one true God, in which my revelations have found to be. So, right, if I was born in India, I think it would have taken me longer to get to Christ because of the culture, but I think I would have gotten there. Maybe not by my age now, but I think I would have gotten there. But no, I have read a lot of the
Bhagavad Gita.
But yeah, I always forget how to say it. But yeah, I've read a lot of Taoism stuff, Lao Tzu, his work. I've studied Buddha. I've actually done a lot of the meditation, the original meditation that Buddha taught, and I've done those retreats. I've gone, I've tasted it all.
Right.
And I keep coming back to Christ.
Let me ask you this question. What would you say to the Hindu in India who has had personal experiences where he's had Vishnu come in and out of him, and he's had these personal experiences, and it's convinced him that Vishnu is the one true God, and that he believes all paths for him are going to always lead him there. What would you say to him to try to convince him that your experiences have better evidence, or I don't know if that's the right way to say it, but
yeah, sure.
Well, let me ask you this: would he be wrong in his conclusion if he has these same personal experiences as you, and he's come to the conclusion that Vishnu is the one true God, and his personal experiences that have convinced him of that? Would he be wrong? I want to step down just a little bit.
I think he would be. I think he would have partial truths, in the sense that I mean, I don't walk around trying to convince anybody of anything.
No, I'm trying to understand. That's yeah.
So I think what I would say to that person is, God bless you. You're a child of God, and and I believe everyone to have a path set forth by the one true God, and his path, and he's walking his path, and maybe his path is to believe that I believe that God sent Buddha. I just believe that God sent Buddha to be the guy to reveal this type of meditation that helped change the world.
Right.
I believe God sent Vishnu, but I believe God sent Vishnu to help people come to maybe understand energy within their body, like chakra systems and things like that. I believe God sent Lao Tzu. I believe God sent all the sages and all the greats.
Okay.
I just believe that the number one
is Jesus.
Just like
I
think Scottie Pippen's really fantastic.
But he's not Michael Jordan.
I think LeBron James.
But he's not Michael Jordan.
But he's not Michael Jordan.
Let me ask you a question. I got a good thought experiment. I've got a little box of mints in here.
Yeah.
Would you agree that there's either an odd number or an even number in here?
Unless there's zero.
Not a trick question.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So if two people came up and they didn't know, and we've not counted them, let's say it's you and I've not counted these, I have no idea, and I say that the last 100 times I've opened one of these up and I've counted them, they've always been even, and so therefore I'm convinced that they're even, and you say that they're odd because the last 100 times you've counted them, they come out to be odd.
Right.
And we stop and we actually count them.
Right.
Is one of us going to be right and one of us going to be wrong?
Well, mathematically, yes.
So, is it possible for the Christian God and the Hindu God and the Buddhist God and the Islamic God all to exist, or are those mutually exclusive in some ways?
Yeah, I think they all, I believe there are gods,
Okay, so.
and I understand people's beliefs in other gods, but I don't think, again, if somebody said LeBron James was the greatest basketball player ever, it's not that they're wrong, it's that they, I think, have interpreted the information, the math, incorrectly. So just like to say, yes, there is either an even number or an odd number in there, but I don't think your soul's going to hell because you said it's even and it's actually odd.
Okay.
I think you're on a path that God has set forth to you, and right now you think it's even if it's odd.
So all paths lead to the same place? Is that what you're saying?
I believe that all human paths are set forth by God, and that if you're right now in a certain belief that, of whatever it is, that Vishnu is whatever, you are there for a reason.
But the ultimate path is to find Jesus, is that?
I think the ultimate path is to accept, I believe that the ultimate path is to accept that there is truth, goodness, beauty, love, and that the main important thing in order to get into what we would call heaven is to be open to capital T truth. And in my opinion, that capital T truth is number one embodied by Jesus.
I've got one more question. I'm going to let you go. Your girlfriend has been waiting very patiently.
My lovely wife.
Your wife. I apologize. Your wife. One more question. If your personal experiences can lead you to believe that Jesus and Christ is the one true God, and the personal experiences of a Muslim can lead them to believe that Allah is the one true God, and the personal experiences of a Hindu would lead them to believe Vishnu or one of their other gods is a true God. Could you say personal experience is a reliable way to determine if something is true then?
I think personal experiences is a part of it. A
part of it.
I think for me, it wasn't just that. You know, I had personal revelations, but then I had to do my research. Like I said, after those revelations, I went and I did this Buddhist meditation. I went and I read all the scriptures. I went and I read the Bible again. I went and I did this and I did that and I did that. And I then reasoned and felt and put those together.
Reason and feelings.
You know, so I put my mind and my heart together, and I, over the years, then came to this conclusion. But when I first had my personal revelations, I knew that God was real, but I didn't necessarily, right in that instance, know that Christ was the number one speaker and the man, an incarnate form of the Most High God. But I think it's the real thing is I don't judge, so I leave that up to God.
Right.
So I'm not going to say, oh, you have to believe in Christ or you're going to go to hell.
Right.
I think that's what a lot of Christians would say. I have a lot of issues with what Christians say. I have no issue with what Christ says, and so I stick with Him.
I got you.
So I don't believe what Christianity. I don't necessarily say that Christianity is the way. I say Jesus is the way. I don't necessarily say what Christians believe and what Christians do and what the Christian church is all about. Just the way that when Jesus came, He was Jewish and He believed in the scriptures and He believed in the idea that He was the Messiah, which was foretold in the Jewish tradition. But He was also denied by the top Jews, the Pharisees.
So it sounds like to me, and I will let you go after this, and think about this. It sounds beyond personal experiences. It sounds like that your belief that the Bible accurately represents or has good information to help you further conclude that Jesus was the one true God. Is that fair? I don't want to put words in your mouth.
Say that again.
Does the Bible, so you've talked about things Jesus did, and most of that's in the Bible, so I'm assuming at some point the personal revelation experiences you had, you went into reading the Bible, it sounds like, and so there's some portion, I would assume, of your God belief that rests on the Bible being an accurate representation of the life of Christ, or at least who He was, or God in some way? I
certainly believe that the Bible is the accurate representation of Christ in the way we need to understand.
The way we need to understand.
There are Gospels that aren't in there. I understand that. There are scriptures that were denied, that they were said to be heretical.
Right.
I understand that. I've read all those. The Gospel of Thomas is one of my favorite things I've ever read. Yeah. I understand why it wasn't put in there, though. And I also understand that the main purpose of Christ coming was to reveal that the one true God does care about us and has really, really seen that we've gone astray. And so Him being sent and Him being embodied, the one true God being embodied in Christ was for us, not for Him.
Okay.
And so I do believe, the thing is, when it comes to the Bible, you can say this and you can say that, but at the end of the day, again, I keep coming back to the metaphor. When you look,
the preponderance of the evidence, perhaps, is that it just leads that this is it.
When you're trying to, let's say you're trying to heal yourself, right? You go to this doctor, you go to that doctor, you go to this doctor, you go to that. You try this diet, you try this medicine, you try it all. And if you conclude of looking at it all, taking it all, trying it all, and you find that this one thing is what healed you, then that one thing is what healed you. It doesn't matter if for somebody else this other thing healed them.
Okay.
So I'm not going to say to you that you need this to be healed.
Okay.
What I am going to say is that in my life, this healed me.
So
And this brought forth in me a relationship with a higher power that is undeniable.
So one last thought, and it's not really a question, but just think about as you go.
Yeah.
If looking at other world religions and the experience of other people, if personal experience is a reliable way to determine if something's true or not, or correct. Just think about that.
Okay.
Yeah. I appreciate it, Mark. I really enjoyed the conversation. We can leave it there.
Jeff.
I know your wife has been patiently waiting. Did you want to ask me any questions at all?
When are you putting this up?
I don't know yet, so I got to get home and get it edited. But if you'll give me your email address, or I'll be glad to email you something, and I will let you have first right of refusal if I post it. You know, something.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah, that's very kind.
What's your email address?
Mark S. Iverson at Gmail. MarkSiverson at gmail.com.
Mark, I really appreciate your time. Hopefully you'll see me out here again, and I'd love to have another conversation with you.
Well, we're just visiting right now.
Oh, okay.
Our family lives here in Somerville, and we're just visiting.
All right. Yeah. So, any other questions for me? You asked at the beginning where I stood on anything. If you want to ask me about anything, I'm more than happy.
Sure. Well, what are your religious beliefs, if any?
On that scale of 0 to 100 that I proposed to you, that you said you were 99.9%, I would put myself at about a 3 or a 4 on that scale. I'm not saying that no gods exist.
Yeah.
I'm saying that I've not been convinced by any of the evidence that I've seen to give me reason that I should conclude that any gods exist. And I will make the disclaimer that I was a devout evangelical Christian for 40 plus years.
Gotcha.
So,
well, what I would do is smoke some weed.
I wish I could. I wish I could.
Okay, edibles.
I have a security clearance. I can't do that.
Oh.
Yeah. So I wish I could.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
What do you mean a security clearance?
I work for the Navy. Yeah. So
gotcha.
yeah. Can't.
There you go.
Can't risk that. Mark, I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Does this have something to do with the Navy?
Nope. This is totally.
This
is just my personal hobby. That's something I like to do.
If it was something to do with the Navy.
No, not at all. My personal hobby. Thanks, Mark. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Nice to talk with you.
Well, no matter what you believe, bless you.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
You guys got 5 minutes for an interview?
Sure.